Right, it's been a week since I saw All of Us Strangers at the cinema, and believe you me, I needed a week to get over this film. It's just stayed with me all of this week. Every possible element has just lingered from what I absorbed when I saw this. The beauty and the sadness, the emotion, the characters and the themes, the sets, the soundtrack. I mean, I've been playing Pet Shop Boys constantly on YouTube since I saw this. Um, as you can probably see from my previous clip, which was an instant post cinema sort of sum up, I was really upset because All of Us Strangers, it touched me in a way that no film has touched me in the past like 10, 20 years at least. It's just exceptional. It's a brilliant piece of work. So I went into this film knowing near nothing about it. I mean, I read the blurb as I was booking a ticket online, but it's based on the novel Strangers by Taichi Yamada, which was based in or published in 1987, and it centers around Adam, played impeccably by Andrew Scott. It's so it focuses on him. He's like a lonely script writer for film and TV, and he lives a very solitary lifestyle in both social and architectural sense, I suppose, because he's an introvert and he's so lonely. But he lives in this like almost empty apartment block in central London, so it's right high up near the top floor, and he's just away. He's pulled back from everything socially as well as being on his own. So it's based around him basically, and the fact that he goes and visits his parents throughout the film by way of imagination or ghosts, who knows. I honestly thought that he was still sitting at his laptop writing a script, but he hops on a train and he goes down to I can relate to, it's based in his old childhood home. So he goes to his old house in Croydon, and it's realized at the beginning of the film, so not really a spoiler as such, both parents were actually killed in a car crash in the late 1980s, and this is where their current forms are actually held. So as he pays visits to see them, he's sort of hopping between timelines. So I wasn't sure, if this protagonist was like a time traveler, or is he just dreaming all this? Is it his imagination for something he's writing into a script? So, their responses. So what he does, as soon as he goes back, see, the main film is all about him coming out as a gay man. So their responses come from their 1980s selves. So all their views are from that era. So there's a lot of shock and sort of upset. The emotion value just really packs a punch. It's spectacular, and it's played excellently by the ensemble who hold this film together nicely. There's also the theme of mental health. Is he suffering delusions, especially when Harry turns up on his doorstep? That's another thing. That's another sort of subplot, or it's just as beautiful, to be fair. So it's probably on the same level and not a subplot at all. But the film hits a fork road. So you've got parental interactions and revelations, as well as their responses, and a potential love interest as well. So he's growing closer to Adam at the same time. Ironically, it's as parallel as the train tracks that you see in the film. So I've got a lot to talk about here, so bear with us. I will try not to spoil this as much as I possibly can. So my first point to note is this film, it's like a dream sequence shortly after someone has lost a parent or a partner. It's as if their grief, like some harsh medicine, is attacking their brain, like their mind, and has created a truly strange, sort of heartbreaking fever dream. That's the only way I can really sort of sum this up. It's like a fever dream. And as I just mentioned, one of the best bits is the ensemble of cast. It's just what, five people at a push who who glue together and deliver such an emotional script. It's just incredible. Each and every one of them, Jamie Bell and Claire Foy, as well as Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal, they all have something different to lend an individual quality. So what I found, an element that makes it most heartbreaking, are the seemingly sort of normal everyday scenes between Adam and his mum and dad. So when he goes back and he sits at the kitchen table eating the cake his mum's made, and and they're sat in the kitchen, the lamps on, the old-fashioned kettle. It's just those little touches, like the cake. Really, it's really relatable and stirs sort of memories. But yeah, he manages to have the conversation with his parents that he should have had sort of as an adult if they were alive. So it's, yeah, their responses are like how attitudes in the 1980s were. And yeah, it's that whole thing of he wishes he had taken the time to tell them this or that kind of thing, if they were still around. Trauma is is a sort of flavor in this film as well. It just all of the strangers, it explores the experiences and the issues some gay men actually go through, like the lead character having to revisit his parents in order to get what he needed from them, what he wanted to hear in the form of acceptance, not necessarily validation, but it's about just telling them, having them listen. It's incredible. Threaded into this is also is how All of Us Strangers deals with grief. So, the harshness of actually losing your parents. It's a double whammy. It's the regret of the fact that you never said, but the absolute harrowing sort of sadness, the lingering sadness of losing them. So there's the hope of a better life when meeting a new person, the inability to let go, when, like, because you'll see this throughout, when he continues to just travel down the train track to his parents' place, backwards and forwards, he can't let go. So there's the hope, the letting go, and the connection. So the need to actually feel a connection with people and with them. Right. So I'm surprised I haven't burst into tears actually during this. Still got a cough, but yeah, I think I've gotten over it, and I'm starting to actually piece it all together now, and it's making more sense. I'm not just right. So the humor and the precious moments in the film. So I'll park the trauma and tragedy for a second, and just focus on the precious moments between Paul, between Paul and Andrew. I thought I was mixing up their names, the actors and characters then. So, excuse me. Right. So it's gorgeous, basically. The characters, Harry and Adam, I mean, the way they meet is kind of, at first, it's basically Adam's in his apartment and Harry goes, and it's a very curious concept how it unfolds. He goes knocking on his door and he's drunk, but the way Adam sort of is like reeling back, and the way Harry's sort of like, coming at him, I was in two minds here. I was like, shit, is this going to go one way? Is he going to attack him, like, and beat the shit out of him, or is he going to enter the apartment and are they going to get it on? Is he going to shag him? Yeah, it's that kind of thing. There's a sense of threat, which quickly softens. So what I mean by the precious moments is, oh god, the love the love scenes, there's some sex in it, but it's not too explicit. We're not talking queer as folk here, where it's just bed banging. The pair do end up in bed, but it's honestly the emotional stuff that you want to absorb, like just the simplest stroke of Harry's arm, a slight smile, uh, the way, for some reason it's Adam doing all the stroking, but yeah, stroking how he's playing with Harry's hair. It's so tender, and it's just so human, so human. This isn't a film where the characters are constantly displaying like overbearing moments of true love. Yeah, I mean, you get some real sort of some movies where they're just constantly like in love, in love, in love, the passion. This is more about, it's the friendship and the understanding that the guys actually develop. So it's really nice to see how that comes to the display. Basically, there's nothing unrealistically romantic where they're glued to each other. It's just two lads enjoying each other's company. So the bathroom scene, I'm trying not to give too much away here, seriously, but I will just note the bathroom scene where where Harry's like, yeah, the cheeky giggle he gives when Adam's trying to like take his trousers off, and he's like, "You don't have to be shy in front of me," like, and it's so brief, but it's just magic, and you can feel at the same time as well that both characters, you can feel the isolation, like they're both as lonely as each other, and they both, in a sense, need each other. So that's right. So that, yeah, you've got the magic moments between them, between the parents. So conversation between mother and son wasn't over the OTT at all, but it wasn't too dry. It's, I mean, it's just so simplistic and brilliant. I honestly can't. This is supposed to be a review, but I can't elaborate. I can't. You have to watch and embrace how this film is made and acted out, because it's so realistic. It's just great. The response to their son being gay. I mean, you've got Jamie Bell, who plays the dad. God, he goes. It's classic. It's even what I've experienced in real life. It's like it goes from when you're in the lounge talking to a parent, and it goes from real harsh, something really harsh and sort of emotional, to then sort of laughing, not laughing after such, but a bit of humor. So that sort of transition between laughing at something, and then actually it sinks in, and then you sort of deal with something, so that it then becomes, when it hits home, it becomes upsetting. So the Claire Foy's character, she just, I mean, it's just so basic but true. How she responds to Adam coming out, she's like, "But how are you ever going to settle? What about that disease that's going around? You see the adverts on the TV. Are you, it's that kind of thing. Are you sure you don't like girls? Will you ever get married? You'll never have a family." That kind of thing. And how he responds to it, Andrew Scott's character, it's incredible. I went, right, so yeah, part that one as well. The cinematography in All of Us Strangers is just, it's sublime. I mean, it's again, it's real life. Everything about this, it's just so inside. It just captures the essence of what I've experienced in my life. And so the cinematography, from Adam sitting on the train with the greenback sort of Hessian style Southern service to Dorking, whether it's that or the like being on a train, to walking down his childhood street, it's just so wholesome and relatable to everyone. And it's also it captures that element as well of going home, how some people rarely visit the parents, some people religiously visit the parents. The domestic scenes don't get caught up in talky, lengthy shite, because believe me, in some films they do. But like I just explained, how he comes out is done so, it's just normal, so normal. Right. So the scenes also move at a decent pace, because that's another thing. When I went into this film, I thought I was in for a sort of real, like overhammy, sort of dragged out, um, because it's based around gay guys, how it would be sort of, the lengthy process of coming out, the long reactions and the journey of people accepting. Far from it. Absolutely far from it. From first scene to last scene, it's just so digestible and entertaining. Oh, God, it's strange to say entertaining, because that makes it sound like a laugh. It really isn't. So, right, right. So there's delicate moments of intrigue, like when Adam's on the underground chasing after Harry. The nightclub scene. I'll get onto that. Right. I must note the pajamas. I've got here written down pajamas exclamation mark with 2 asterisks next to it, because it's, oh good God, it's convincing. Any other film where a grown man is like dressed in kiddies pajamas would look fucking stupid. Here, it's just excellent. It fits the scenes that he's wearing pajamas in. It fits perfectly, and it actually lends to the sadness and the delicacy as well of the situation. So there's a scene. Oh, it's fantastic. So Adam, he comes down the stairs, and his parents are in the lounge. Pet Shop Boys playing on Top of the Pops in the background. Side note, I think Andrew Haigh ripped that from YouTube, because there's a video on there of the presenter like introducing Pet Shop Boys, and you can hear that in the film. It's the same clip, I think. So when he's in the lounge, when he goes in and he's sat cross-legged on the floor looking up at his mum and like sort of just beaming at the fact that she's decorating the tree, it's excellent. The dad's like milling around in the background. There's also there's a bit, this leads into the photo. Again, try not to give it away, but the photo moment, the moment like he wished they'd had, or that he wished he was better, like he wishes like he felt differently in. So yeah, the right. Let me just, jeez, take a breather. I'm honestly, again, I'm surprised I haven't started crying again, but I am drying up slightly. Right, the soundtrack through the film it's just brilliant. It really is. It just radiates the 80s. It's excellent. I will never listen to Always on My Mind by Pet Shop Boys again, I must just say. And there's also Blur. Death of a Party by Blur is in it. It's during the nightclub scene. I mean, I don't know if I'd find this film as heartbreaking if Always on My Mind wasn't part of the score, because it's just so sad when you actually listen to the lyrics and how the tune, like the melody. I didn't realize how sad it actually is, but yeah, it brings back that whole 1980s vibe. I was captivated and just transported back to the time of like the brown carpets and beige wallpaper and the like orange sofas and gas fires. Yeah, it was just excellent. So yeah, bonus point, as well as the soundtrack. So you've got the music score. Andrew Haigh, director, he captures those moments that you'll always remember, or those times where you've sat down with a friend and you've discussed sort of just really random things, but real poignant things, like you're sat and you're chatting to someone, you're like, oh, do you remember when you were little and you'd come down the stairs to the sound of like something on TV, your dad's cigarette would be like smoking in the ashtray, and there was a little beige lamp in the corner that was always on. What Andrew Haigh does here is he just captures the the sense and the feeling and the nostalgia that, that he puts into it. It just it's my experience. Basically, this whole film is it's just my experience. It's so strange. I feel like I'm when I think about this film, it's like reading a diary of myself. So I'm not talking like every aspect to it, but you know there are certain parts that are just that just hit home for me. And Claire Foy's character, like Mum, as she's decorating the Christmas tree, you'll see it's a it's such a sweet it's a I haven't got the word for it. It's a beautiful moment where she's like adding these ornaments to the tree, and you've got Pet Shop Boys playing on the TV, and Adam's smiling up at her, and she's like, you know, maybe I didn't treat you half as good as I should, and she's like looking down at him, and you know, maybe I didn't hold you all those lonely times, and it's I'm I'm getting sinusy here. Please don't cry. Don't cry. Right. So annoying that I've still got the car. Yeah, this is absolutely sublime. So I'm just hoping I'm really hoping that I'm sort of describing it and not sort of going off kilter here. But yeah, let's see. What have I got here? The Harry bopping to the music. Okay, yeah. So annoying. So not he wasn't so annoying. Fucking water is because I'm getting dry again. The way Blur's Death of a Party plays during this this whole scene, the lighting and the mood, the sort of sinister atmosphere mixed with Harry's like grinning face as he's like bopping her up and down. Well, it's haunting, basically. It feels like he knows what's coming. And like I say, when he first turns up on his doorstep, on Adam's doorstep, it's weird. You don't really know how it's going to pan out. But as the film goes on and they grow closer and closer, and they develop not just a love life, but a friendship, and they're together, and how they embrace each other is it's incredible. And for once, like a scene that isn't set, or a scene that is set in a gay club that doesn't play out to the sort of like that sort of, you know, pumping Gadio style music. It's just all Kylie or Britney Spears remixes, obviously. There's no vicious like Europop. It's just this like this dark, twisted tune that plays as they're both sort of smiling, and it's mesmerizing. That's the only way I can describe it. Is the whole atmosphere is intoxicating, and I was just I believe in it. So a side note, I won't lie. If I find a film really boring or it sends me off track, I get my phone out. Not like in front of everyone, but very subtly. Like I'll just look down to check if I've got any WhatsApps. I didn't touch my phone once during this film. So, right. I suppose All of Us Strangers, it did something for me that no film ever has. It made me realize that in some cases, beautiful and upsetting can combine and actually be the same thing at once. So the actual atoms of both feelings are the same things, and I've never experienced that during a film before. So yeah, I was won over, basically. So it's profoundly real, tapping into the roots of everything that makes us human. And it's not just a gay film. It's relatable to anyone who has ever experienced love in any form, be that male or female, both. It's but it's how lonely you can feel at the same time. And Andrew Haigh he didn't make a film. Like, he made a reminder of what life is, as most of us have experienced it, basically. Right, let me just a quick download of the characters themselves. So Harry turns up on Adam's doorstep, grinning mischievously. Paul Mescal is incredible, basically. His performance, his facial expressions, what really captivated me. He's like this playful glint in his eyes. He's not overly sort of flamboyant. He doesn't go mincing into the apartment like, "Oh, hi, babes, do you want to share?" That kind of thing. He's just a standard lad. He's cute. He's just like playful, and his alternative image gives him that sort of boy next door vibe. But it's easy to see that there's something sad bubbling underneath as well, and there's pain there. The cute giggling as he speaks, and the sort of sleazy facial expressions because he's drunk, just they top his performance. It is excellent. So he's playful, he's cute, but like I say, at first I sensed threat. Would he get violent? But that quickly became vulnerability, like later on. So, and I'm glad it wasn't, let's fuck. But it was at the same time, it wasn't, I'm going to kill you either. It was just a really refreshing surprise and interaction between two strangers. So Adam is the complete opposite to Harry. He's introverted, he's reluctant to get involved with him, and he plays it to, Andrew Scott plays this to perfection, delivering the most heart-wrenching of scenes at the most fragile of moments. It was like a gut punch in a fever dream most of the time. From the door opening reluctancy and insecure sort of gestures, that thoughtful gaze, to the scene where there's this scene where I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, but when he goes home to see his parents, there's a scene where his mum questions whether he should be coming back to visit them, and whether he should continue any more. And his face, it's like when someone's upset and angry, but it's like it's fueled by pure emotion. So it's like, well, and he sits here and he's like, okay, just I fucking loved this bit. It was like a rush of anger, love. It was sublime. So, right, let's see. So Jamie Bell as Dad broke my heart in one scene. The way he started weeping. His introduction's very strange. You'll see what I mean. But once his relationship is actually established, Jamie, he just takes the reins, and he's the classic 80s dad. How he responds to Adam coming out. Again, similarly, Claire Foy just has that look in her eye, and the Christmas tree decorating scene is definitely the best. So this, I think the last gay film that I really enjoyed was God's Own Country years ago. It was there were scenes in that was just as tender and meaningful, but nowhere near as hypnotic and mysterious as All of Us Strangers. Hands down, this wins. It was a classic case, I really like you, but there's something not right here. Something's wrong. And let's face it, in real life, most of us have experienced that kind of, you're gorgeous, make me feel good, but something's not going to work out. Right. Okay. Luckily, I haven't got a lot more to elaborate on, but I suppose I should round up this review by speaking about the end. The end of the film, which absolutely destroyed me. As mentioned in my previous clip, I was beside myself in the cinema. I was getting weird looks because I could barely breathe. I was sat in my chair like, because I had like a blocked up nose. I was sat there like, it was just absolutely. There we go. There's the last remaining remnants of it. I was mortified, and so I mean, I wasn't just moved. The fucking cinema seats came up. The whole row. I was floored, basically, and I haven't felt that, as I say, in a film in years. So it was the contradiction overall for me of this wonderfully tender but gut-wrenchingly upsetting well the final few seconds, and I sobbed. I sobbed uncontrollably. The the bit right at the end where so okay, yeah, I can't even describe any of it without spoiling it. So the only way I can describe it is by talking about the camera shot, the way the camera pulls out and a certain piece of music plays. Oh my god! Oh my god! I was in agony, basically. I walked out of that auditorium last week, dazed, and just I was dazed and mortified. I was just so upset that I stood in the auditorium just crying my eyes out. And I remember some people came out. I don't know. I think they might have been. No, fuck it. I'm trying to justify how I felt by saying people looked as upset as I did. No one noticeably was upset, but hey, we'll take films in our own different way. But yeah, I came out and I stood there and I was like, oh god, literally. I was inspired, I was haunted, I was captivated, I was entertained, I was touched, I was upset, I was full of hope and fear, because that subplot of Adam and Harry, the twist within the last sort of few minutes of the film just fucking punched me like in the gut and the and the face, I suppose. I was fucked. Excuse my language. I was absolutely fucked. All of Us Strangers, just it was, for some people, it will haunt you to the bone, and it will continue surging through your soul long after the credits have rolled. Believe you me. Regardless of whether you can relate to any of the themes raised throughout the film or not, it's because it's real life handed to you on a plate. As I said, it was like reading a diary in some scenes. It's not some far-fetched, unrealistic tale set 8,500 miles away across the planet, told by polar opposite, like actors who are polar opposites of the characters that they play. Therefore, you can't really get any conviction from it. It's you know, it's not done like that at all. It's delivered just brilliantly by such talented people who you can tell are really into it. So they glue together as an ensemble of four spectacularly. And I had little touches of Back to the Future. So Adam traveling back in time, where he's the same age as his parents. This is going to sound really random. Drop Dead Fred, where Elizabeth returns to her childhood home. She's sleeping in the same bed as she did when she was a kid in order to face her past and her mum. And yeah, I got little tiny bits of other films, but in all honesty, this entire production is its own like just polished gem of emotion and raw human feeling. It really is. So I have to mention this just for personal note. I'm fully aware now of why there was, oh God, how do I say this without sounding like a pervert and giving a spoiler? I'm fully aware of why Adam had semen on his chest, basically, during the scene. A lot of people, I don't know if anyone knows, because there were no reactions in the auditorium. Not that, you know, it was like people were that immature, but the post-sex scene, he's covered in jizz, basically. And I now know why, given how the plot, how it actually sort of culminates at the end of the film. Yeah. So you could probably work out what I mean. Apologies if not. Right. So, I mean, he's clearly had a wank, basically. That's it. So, All of Us Strangers removes the bolts, the bolts and the sort of adhesives that you find in every other movie that you watch that holds other movies together. It just runs and explores and touches and relates to and upsets and sort of gives hope. So yeah, it just removes all of that you get in other films, and it really hits home. One thing is for certain, I will definitely be watching all Andrew Haig's other films, The Weekend, Lean on Pete, 45 Years, etc. And yeah, I'm so inspired to watch his other work now. This was an absolute celestial masterpiece. That's it. I don't think I can say anymore, and I've really gone on for far too long. So yeah, if somebody asked me in the street what this film is about, I would say it's a heart-wrenching, gut-punching fever dream of somebody trying to come to terms with themselves and the regret at the fact that they never told their parents, they never had the chance to. So it's not only sort of exploring himself as a gay man, but it's also that longing, that yearning, and holding on to something he shouldn't do. How the time has passed, his parents are gone, but he just wishes he had the chance with them, basically, to come out. And it's a love story at the same time as a moving on story. Okay, so that twist, oh crap, yeah, the twist at the end, like I say, it ruined me. It absolutely ruined me. So I'm mortified. I can't even explain it without giving a spoiler. But basically, All of Us Strangers is the best film I've seen in the past 10 years. And that's saying something. It's so relatable, and it's so emotional, and it's so feeling. It really is. Definitely give this film a go.